Good morning. Welcome to the Bond Sunday morning services. Thank you so much for being with me. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. You can get involved with this discussion today by calling 800-411-2663, 800-411-BOND, or email church@bondinfo.org, church@bondinfo.org, and put your name and town on your emails. The number is going to be flashing across the screen there, so you'll see it again. Good morning to everybody here.
Good morning.
You know, it's so weird that I'm doing this kind of stuff. You know, I'm standing here saying good morning, introducing, and I didn't grow up thinking about doing this. Isn't that weird? Anyway. It just feels weird. I mean, it doesn't feel weird, but it doesn't fit my MO. Whatever that is.
You would have seen for yourself.
Right. I would not have, growing up, nothing I'm doing in life right now is what I thought I would be doing. It's just so not a part of it.
Sometimes that's our reality too, but it's not a good thing.
So what?
So sometimes that's our reality too, but it's not always a good thing.
That you're doing things you didn't think you would be doing? Yeah, sometimes that's pretty messed up. Anybody have any questions for me? Because I have some emails I need to respond to. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mentioned it to you anyway about judging.
Right.
Because we've been
That's a good
talking
one.
about judging a lot.
Right.
And a short time ago, I guess it was last week or whenever, I realized that judging is extremely destructive when it comes to relationships.
Yes.
Extremely destructive. For instance, to give you an example of what,
A little louder for me.
Yeah, it happened a long time ago, okay, when I realized that I was judging my wife. And I actually felt better by judging her.
Yeah.
I thought that she's the bad guy and I'm the good guy.
Yeah.
So what judgment really does, it distorts the picture completely.
It sure does.
You can't even see the person for what that person really is. You can't see that.
Yeah.
You reinforce your sense of goodness by judging that person.
It's amazing, too, how you can judge someone else and feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Thinking that you are better than them by judging them.
So you know what it really is?
And then when they rebel against you, you say, oh, you just don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah, that is a very probable response.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
So how long you been married?
Oh gosh, it's going to be 48 years.
48 years. How did your wife react to your judgment of her?
Oh, she hated me for it.
Yeah.
She did. And it's really terrible.
And what caused you to realize that it was you and not her, that you were wrong?
Well, I thank God that I saw that I was judging her. And that and did what I already said before, reinforced my sense of goodness by judging her to be the bad person.
How did you come to realize that?
It just dawned on me. It did. It just dawned on me. I realized.
Right.
I mean, boy, what a revelation that was, I have to tell you. It
I
really
bet.
was.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you apologized to
Yes.
her?
Yeah, I did.
And did she accept it?
No, not at the time. Not at the time. No, she didn't.
Right.
So, but that goes, same thing with my son. It's just so bad all the way around. It really wounds relationships. It
You
does.
judge your son too?
No, I used to, yes.
Right. Know what I mean?
No, not anymore.
Right.
No, not anymore.
Well, it's good that you see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought I'd bring it up because
Because there's nothing worse than a father doing that to a family.
yes,
It's bad enough when the mothers do it, but it's even worse when the father do it.
yes. That's right.
It causes a lot of damage.
Yes.
Well, that's good.
It actually destroys relationships and destroys families. It really does.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of judgment, I got a... Oh, do you want me to tell you what I realized reality looked like or is? I asked a question before we started taping. What does reality look like or what is it? The one thing I know for sure real reality is, I think a lot of folk maybe don't realize this, and I realized it a while back in my life. I realized that the reality is I am not God. Meaning that I can absolutely do nothing to change my life. I just realized that one day. I'm like, wow, this is something else, because if you don't clearly see that, you're in a false reality. You unconsciously keep trying to change your life. You keep trying to work things out. You keep trying to stress behind things. But if you could truly, 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 truly see that, and I guess it has to be revealed to you, because if it's not revealed to you, you really don't see it. But it was just like clearly shown to me. And as a result, there's nothing left in me to try to change my own life. It's just nothing left there anymore to do that. And so I'm just kind of going through life and letting life happen with no stress at all. And if there is stress, I don't feel the stress, because I think there is still stress, but I don't feel it because I just saw that there's really nothing I can do about anything. Can you imagine living a life knowing that you can do nothing about anything? You have to really see reality to know that. But there's not one iota of a thing that you can do to make life better for yourself. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's reality. At least for me, at least, yes.
That's a famous line in a movie, by the way. The movie is The Player. Tim Robbins, he says that's reality. That's the ending of the movie, is that's reality.
Really?
Yeah.
That is. Well, I hope it's not the end of my movie, because I want to go on for a while.
Quick thing on John's thing, when he, and I just, maybe you can help me understand it a little better.
Yeah.
You asked him about whether he went to his wife and admitted to judging her and all
Yes.
that. I mean, is that something you have to do in all cases? Because I've seen how, if you're in a judgmental relationship where both sides are doing it, and if you tell your wife you were judging her, she'll just judge you more. So
Right.
I want to understand more about
No, in a marriage, it is absolutely important that you do it. Now, you don't have to keep going and apologize. Once you truly see that you have been the problem, then you go and apologize for that. But then you change. You don't go back to your ways anymore. And if your wife or your children don't accept it right then, they don't say, oh, okay, I'm sorry too, or I accept it. In due season, they may see that. Because now a different love is coming from you, a different reality is going to come out. And that's what's going to help them to see that you have truly changed, and that may cause them to change as well. But you shouldn't do it over and over again, because if you truly, truly are sorry for what you've done, you don't repeat the same thing over and over again. But yeah, absolutely, apologize. And you're right, they may judge you for it even more so, but that's on them at that point. Yeah. That's a good question. I just think people have they're very stubborn. They have real profound egos that's been running their life for so long. And it's just hard for them to sit down and realize reality. To really just know that everything you think is wrong, everything you do is wrong. There's nothing you can do about life. There's nothing you can do to change your life. I think the ego is just hard. Some people have strong will, ego. They're of the devil. They're like one with the devil. I know a lot of people who sit to pray, and rather than just being still and quiet and let everything happen, they're counting every thought. They're judging every thought. They're still identifying with the thoughts while sitting there watching the thoughts. They won't just sit there and let go and observe. They're not you. You can't put anything into it, because in reality, there's nothing we can do. And that's a hard concept for the mind to believe, is that you can actually live life stress-free without doing anything. How do you accept something like that? How do you accept I can just go through life and just live? It's hard. It has to happen to you in order to believe it.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can't believe that on your own. But you got to be still long enough in order to believe it. Yes, ma'am.
When you say that your reality is that you realize that you're not God and you can't, like you're saying, you can't change yourself.
Right.
You can't do anything.
I can't change anybody else.
Right, you can't, right, that's for sure. You can't make yourself better.
Right.
What state of mind should you be in? Because you can't just say, I can't help myself. I'm the way I am, I can't help it. And when God changes me, he'll change me. I mean, you could do that. and
Right.
That wouldn't be right. So what,
And that wouldn't work either.
that wouldn't work
Because
either.
I used to say that all the time.
Oh,
Well, I can't help myself, so I'm just gonna let the Lord help me, right?
Right.
And get busy right after that, trying to help myself.
Yeah, so what should your mindset be that makes God come to you? Like,
That's a very good question. When God changed my mind or changed me 21 years ago, I was at a point where I was just like fed up. You know, like, you know what, I'm sick of being this way.
yeah,
I'm sick of the way things are. I can't change it. I go to church, I read the Bible, I give my money, I do everything the preacher says, but nothing happened. And I was just sick of being weak and pathetic and not knowing what I wanted to do in life. And I think at that point, I was just ready to let go.
kind of like when you're at the lowest point is your highest point, in a way.
In some cases, yes.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I just like, let me see myself. Let me see what's going on, you know. He gave me the words to say in that point of no, you know, when I was fed up.
Yeah.
I don't even think that we can come up with our own words to say to him to make him change us. It looked like he gave us the right words to say. And so that's what happened, it seems. I was just fed up with life. I was fed up being weak. Not knowing what I want. There's nothing worse than living a life and not knowing what you want to do in life. And then you try all these different things, you're not happy with those things, and then you go to college for 80 years, and once you get out, you still don't know, or you get jobs all the time, and then you end up with people you don't want to be with. You know, that's a hard way to live, all in the name of Jesus. I was just at a point where I was just fed up. And so I was ready to stop trying anyway. You ever felt like that?
Yes.
I think that's the point. Maybe I knew I had to go there.
Yeah.
So
I felt that way. I always have a problem with my sister, and she's very opinionated, and you know, she'll just talk forever and
right.
disregards me completely. Just uses me as a sounding board and then gets off the phone like I don't exist.
Yeah.
And she does that over and over again. And it was interesting because I've been going through this, like I need to say something, I have to speak up, and I got to a point where I'm willing to give her up. That I have to get to that point. Because
Yes.
in my family, when you speak up against somebody, they like disown you.
Right.
You know?
Mine too.
They do it.
Yeah. You're not the only
That's
one.
it, you know.
Yeah.
So I figured that's it then, you know.
Yeah.
So it reached this point, and I told her. Now I didn't do it in the best, but I did
That's
it.
all right, yeah.
At least I did it.
Yeah.
And I did it, and then she got kind of quiet, and then she called me back, and she said, I didn't realize I was doing that.
See there?
And it was like,
Yeah.
she didn't realize this.
Yeah.
It's like her whole, everything about her does this. I mean,
But she could be doing it and just totally unconscious of herself.
totally unconscious.
Most people don't know themselves, so they don't really know what they
People
do.
do things, they have no idea what they're doing. They
Yes.
do not know that they're hurting people.
Yes.
That they're disrespecting people.
Yeah.
That they're doing evil. And
Yeah.
they don't even know it. And they live in this world, and they just look at themselves as great and wonderful, and they wouldn't harm a fly.
I'm dealing with someone right now who has a major habit of hurting people. They meet people and they weaken them. You know, they take care of them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's weird. And they do it over and over again. I'm thinking, what is this that you can't see that you're causing more damage to these people than you are good? And then they'll finally catch on and they'll drop that one, they'll stop, but they'll find another one to do the exact same thing to. exact same thing with the same words, the same attitude, and then you try to stop them and they won't. It's the same word. People are just unconscious and don't see the things that they're doing seem natural to them
Right.
because they've been doing it so long, they don't see that as wrong.
Yeah.
That's why we can't hate for another reason we shouldn't hate people,
Right.
because they know not what they do.
You really have to be sharp and aware of yourself
Yes.
always. Because if you drop that, you'll harm people.
That's right.
You'll do-
You cause major damage to people.
Yeah.
All in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So you finally spoke up to her.
Yeah, finally. It took my whole life. But I did it.
And you feel better.
I felt so good
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
I just felt like a relief, like when you tell the truth.
Yes.
Like you're hiding it when you don't speak up.
That's right.
And it was,
You hide it and you judge yourself and them.
and I judged myself. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
'Cause you're mad at yourself for putting up with
Yes.
it.
That's-
And then you're mad at them for doing it to you.
it's,
And then,
it's horrible.
it's horrible. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I work with a lot of people. So I work with someone I know for a fact, if they start speaking up, they're going to walk on cloud.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest thing for them to do to speak up. But it's the one thing that's holding them back. It's probably the only thing that's holding them back. Because they hate themselves for not speaking up. And they hate the people who they can't speak up to.
Right.
And if they did that, they would go free.
Yeah, you're free.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
that's
free.
what it is to be free.
Yes, ma'am.
It's wonderful.
And so you're still going to hang out with her now?
Yeah, I hang out with her.
Yeah, you can deal with her better now.
Now it's like I'm more in control a little.
Yes,
I'm not just at her whim
that's right. How many years it took?
my whole life. I don't know.
Your whole life? Is she your oldest sister or younger? The oldest. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad you finally did that.
thank you. I am too.
And keep speaking up, and you're going to walk on water.
Yeah,
Just don't hate.
yeah. I've resented her a lot.
Yeah. And she wasn't to blame for your resentment.
No.
It was your own. You picked it up along the way, and because you couldn't deal with her, you blame her for it. And she's not to blame for your weakness.
That's true.
Yeah.
She acts as if she is very knowledgeable and knows everything, and
It's all a cover-up.
it surprises me that when people act that way, you start to think maybe they do know everything, and then you find out
No.
that
It's no different than the person that smoked dope.
yeah,
They're using that false knowledge to cover it up to keep from looking at themselves,
Yeah.
realizing that they don't know anything.
they don't know, they're so unaware.
Yeah.
But Stuart always said she was so unaware.
Yeah. Why did you have him deal with her?
Well,
You know what, I would have.
He would've
She
done
didn't
it.
want me to,
Yeah.
because,
Your wife didn't want you to?
she didn't want me to.
Why not?
Because she knew I'd come out, it would be the end of the relationship.
That would be
I would just be, that would be it, terminate.
But that's okay. That's a amend to end bad relationships.
it would be war.
It wasn't a relationship anyway.
Not really, no.
You said, how what?
How would that have helped her?
Who?
Iris?
Because it's a man's responsibility to stand up for his wife.
How would it help her to learn how to stand up for herself?
Yeah, to watch her husband do it, it would encourage her to do it as well. It really would. Men have been given that authority to be the light of their wives. So the wife can see the right way to go. The problem is, if the wife is controlling, she's going to say, no, don't tell her, don't talk to her. It's going to end the relationship. She's going to get mad. And when a man listens to that, nothing gets settled. It just goes on and on and on.
Every wife does that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the problem. But a real man wouldn't let his wife tell him what to do like that. He would do it anyway. Not that Stuart is not a real man.
If I would have done it, she would have blown up. She didn't want me to create this big blow up, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew he would do it. If I said, I need you, he'd do it in 2 seconds.
But why do you...
I just was afraid. I figured,
They're kind of fun.
I don't know.
No, you should have allowed him to do it. I mean, allow. I don't even like that word. You should have done it anyway.
You know, it was that I wasn't willing to, she is my only sister. My parents are both deceased, and that's my only family. And I figured I wasn't quite ready to give her up. I really wasn't.
Right.
I'd have to get to that point, and then I'd say, okay, go for it.
Go for the kill. But in reality, you didn't have a relationship with her anyway, though.
No,
You know, you didn't. If you can't be honest with your sister, then you don't have a relationship.
right.
If you can't speak up to your sister, if you can't disagree and still maintain friendship, you don't have a relationship.
I think people, you know, in families, when, maybe it's just in mine, but when you have an older sister, you're always in this position that you're younger, you're stupid, you know nothing.
Right.
And they put you in the category.
Yeah.
And the older sister, even my mother, when she was alive, would say, oh, she knows, ask her,
Right. But
And-
that's what that was the setup for you.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
yeah, a
Yeah.
setup from, being a little kid.
Right. Yeah. But now you're free.
I'm free.
Hallelujah.
Free at last.
Free at last, free at last. I like freedom. Don't you like freedom?
Yes, I do.
There's nothing like perfect peace.
It is. It's wonderful if you don't react and you could say what you think.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a gift from God.
I'm working with this young lady who is literally going through hell right now. And every time I check on her, she's like, I'm looking at her, I'm looking at her, I'm like, how you doing today? Oh, I'm doing fine, I'm hanging in there. I'm like, okay, bye, you'll be fine. I'm just watching her suffer through because I believe that one day she's just gonna say the right words to God and He's gonna bring her out of it. I don't feel sorry for her, I don't, cater to her, but because I think that's what it's gonna take, suffering. Without anybody feeling sorry, making her feel sad about herself and all that kind of stuff. And one day God will give her the words and she'll get up and walk and never have to go back to that again. But a lot of people won't let you suffer. And especially women and men who are like women, they will not let you. Isn't that right, Ed? I don't mean to be calling you a man like a woman, but
not much.
but it's best to let them suffer. If you notice God, He let us suffer. He tried to warn us, give us a little love, and try to wake us up. But if we don't listen, He'll let you end up on Skid Row, all in the name of Jesus, while He and Christ have cafe mocha every morning. He's not going to feel sorry for you. He gave you a conscience. He gave you a way out. But He's not going to say, oh, my poor baby, what can I do? And get in your way. He will not do it. Have you noticed that? So why do parents do that to their children? And do you know why? I'm not saying you ever done it.
No, I have done that, but.
Oh, yeah, okay.
but
Thank you for a minute.
You know what it really comes down to? It comes down to if you don't have a relationship with God,
Yeah.
you can figure out a relationship with anything. And it's usually the wrong thing.
Yeah, even when you see it's not helping, you still do the same
You end
thing.
up with some kind of relationship with an idea, something you learned, something you got taught. There are people that love cars. They love cars.
Yeah.
Well, what are they going to take with them, when it's all over? So it really comes down to that, and you can't see what you're doing if you have a relationship with the wrong thing.
Yes.
It's really
Good point.
comes down to that.
Kate, you had your hand?
Yeah, I think four still.
Oh, did you? Go ahead, Forrest. I didn't even see you over there. You're here. Good morning, sir.
Am I invisible?
Not now.
Reality, each person's reality. Each person, people have different realities. And my question is, if you have bad habits and judge yourself for those habits, your judgment cuts you off from experiencing the beauty of each and every unfolding moment.
Yes.
Does God take that judgment away from you, or do you take it away from yourself in order to experience life the way it's supposed to be experienced, experiencing the beauty of each and every moment, whether it reveals evil or good or inspiration or whatever it reveals.
Does God take what away from you now?
Your judgment, whether it be self-judgment or judgment of other
Oh.
people, which stands in the way of you appreciating your life in the way you're supposed to appreciate it, with your proper relationship with God.
When you realize that you are not God and that you can't change anything, meaning that if you can realize the reason that you're in the condition that you're in is because of you and not because of God, because of your relationship with the outer environment. I was talking, another good example of what you're asking me. I'm dealing with someone who is really going through it, and I didn't know quite why they were going through it. And so they told me that, one day they told me that, well, when I was growing up, I used to be a football player, and the world loved me. That's all I knew growing up. I was popular. I was the smallest one on the team. I fought the hardest, and I came out on top. And everyone knew me. And so I'm growing up, and that's all I know. And then all of a sudden, I'm that no more. It's all gone, you know. And so I don't feel important anymore. And so from that, they judged themselves. And when they judged themselves, it was over. They could not move forward to experience the next thing in life that would be even better than because things are always changing, nothing stays the same. But when you're a judgmental kind of person, a prideful person, your mind lock in on what you're doing and decide that this is good, it's gonna last forever, this is who I am. And when you lose that, reality set in that this is not who you are, it doesn't make you a good person. You have nothing to hold on to. So it's not God judging you, but you have made a decision that this is it, this is good.
So let's say, okay, the reality is you're judging yourself,
Yes,
and you realize that, and you keep judging yourself because you're locked into that kind of
I got you.
existence.
Yes.
At what point, you ask God to take it away from you? You don't like it. You see how horrible it is. At one point, is the burden lifted from you, and you're able to see the real beauty of each and every unfolding moment, where you're not burdened with that terrible
That's a good question, man.
terrible burden, terrible weight. I mean, you can't do it for yourself.
Right.
You know it's wrong, but you can't really just completely give it up and forget about it, and then all of a sudden have the ability to appreciate each and every moment of every day.
Yeah, very, very good question.
I mean, I see that that's the whole point. Things don't have to be loaded with excitement to appreciate every moment. There's beauty in each and every moment, and you can find it easier if you're not burdened with that weight of judgment that we go through. I go through 200 times a day. I'm always judging something.
Yes.
I can't.
Good question, man. Very, very good question. Did you want to respond to that? Did you raise your hand?
Yes.
Okay.
For instance, I explained before about my wife, that I was judging her. I'm really judging her. And when you see the damage that you are creating, you're supposed to love your wife. And what is going on? I mean, totally the opposite is happening. Your judgment causes her to hate you. You're looking at her.
I know, but he want to know, how do you finally get to the one that set you free?
By seeing the damage that you're doing.
I want to know what your reality is after you see it.
But for instance,
What is your reality?
But you know what?
Are you still seeing it?
At one point, you have to see the problems that you're creating, the damage that you're doing with your judging. I mean, that should be a wake-up call right there.
But where did the
A lot of people are doing it to themselves, too.
where does that leave you, John?
Yeah, you're doing it to themselves.
Well, let me put it this way. You know what? I mean, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
We know.
No,
We know.
You know what? That actually caused me to stop it. I did not want to
Let me move.
Actually, judgment in a way is like hatred too.
Yeah.
You see, it is. I didn't want to hate.
But see, my question is, that judgment that you have cuts you off from any chance to appreciate anything.
Yeah, it does.
You have that, your penalty,
Yeah,
it cuts you
that's
off.
true too,
And
yes.
you sit there and you know that you're doing it and you're addicted to it, but it still cuts you off.
Oh, I love this question. This is $1 million question. Yes.
I had an experience, I was able to suspend that because I gave up what I was getting from that judgment. It was easier, it was at work. There was somebody I thought was not behaving properly. I suddenly said, all right, there's something wrong with me constantly hating this other person. And I was able to stop, it was a client. So I said, all right, I'm not going to get anything from this client, which in my case is income. And it helped a great deal.
Okay.
Needless to say, the income kept coming. That was the unintended good result. You could actually see you're getting something from it. It's not that you hate that you can't hate yourself for judging. You got to also see what you're getting out of it, because you are getting something out of it.
Yes.
Give that
I
a
don't have an answer, but I kind of wanted you to elaborate on that self-judgment thing.
Right.
Talk about that guy that was locked in, he, was popular and all that, he judged himself. Can you elaborate on kind of how that works?
Well, like when
Did
you
you see that he had judged himself, or did you point it out?
well, what happened when you're popular, whether it's in the media, whether it's in the family or whatever,
Right.
if you're not conscious of what's going on, your ego is growing from that.
Right.
It loves that attention. It feels good. It feels like life. And then if all of a sudden, and your mind is locked in on it too, because the ego is the mind, right? And so when it's going on, you're growing with that. You think this is it, and feel like it's going to last forever. It feels like life, and then all of a sudden, if it's not there anymore, reality set in is that you're not as important as you thought you were. You feel like nothing. You don't feel important because the people are gone, the lights are out, right? Now, your mind lock in on you're no good. Now you hate yourself for being no good. And so it just goes back and forward like that. And some people fight to try to get that attention back, and they'll just do anything to try to get it back, and it still doesn't work, and so they become something else. Drug addicts.
Judge yourself, how does that cut you off from being able to move forward? How does that?
Because when you judge yourself, then God is not with you. He's not in your life, and so you're trying to create your own life. You're playing God with yourself, trying to make it the way you think is going to make you feel good, the way you're going to look. And the real God is not with you. The devil is with you, the deceiver, but not the true God that gives life. You're separated from God to be your own God. Every time you make one decision about right and wrong, any little one, any big one, a small one, whatever, when you do that, you're separated from God to be your own God. And when we're unconscious, we tend to do it all the time with everything. Everything. Whether it's with a man with a woman, or a woman with a man, or what you eat, what you don't eat, everything. Because you're playing God, separated from the true God. It's all ego. And all you're doing is setting yourself up. Yes?
Yeah, I think the big thing here is that, the person that's the football player, all that adulation, all that attention,
Yep.
all the feelings of greatness were all based in ego. And so when it's all stripped away from you, you feel like nothing. But
Yeah.
it's not the nothing that you talk about when you had a conversion in terms of when you were born again. This is a totally different nothing feeling.
What's the difference?
Well, when you feel like nothing and God came in and saved you, you were ready to admit that you're not God. And you had come to a certain place in your life from an evolution standpoint where you wanted to reach out and be saved.
All right.
This is different. This is, you're a star, and now nobody knows who you are, and you're nothing, and nobody cares. It's all an ego thing. It's all related to the ego.
But it's like that with every aspect of life. When someone, let's say you have a lot of money, and now everybody loves you because you got a lot of money, and then now your little money is gone, And you could feel like nothing with that because the people are gone.
That's right.
So
But,
it's the same painful feeling.
well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the same feeling, but your intentions when you went
Right,
to the
were
closet
different.
were completely different.
Right, that's the problem.
You didn't strip yourself of all the attention from being a football star so you could be converted to God, to be saved. by
That's a
God.
very good point. So when I felt the pain of nothingness, I didn't go into my prayer closet to learn how to be another football player.
That's right.
I wanted to overcome this pain so I could have peace and live in the right way.
You had a
That's the difference.
Completely,
Very good point, man.
Yes,
completely
yes.
different.
Especially for a lawyer.
By the way, I'm billing you for this hour right now.
Very good point.
Yes.
Most people don't want to go for God. They want more of what they had.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And then
Wow.
the other thing is that I think it's harder for what Ed's comment and John's is this isn't about judging another human being. This is then coupling that horrible feeling of being nothing and wanting to replace that.
Yeah.
And then judging yourself because basically you say to yourself, I'm an idiot. And then it gets worse and it becomes so muddled
Yes.
that, you don't, it's not like you say, I hate my wife, or I'm judging my wife, I'm a bad person for judging, let me just stop. You hate yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different thing because it's so jumbled up with this ego thing too. And so it's it's just different.
This is some amazing stuff.
Yes. Yep. But that's
Very good point, man.
he's hitting the nail right on the head.
I
He really is.
The one thing that Forrest said that I realized when he was saying it is that you hear the word, you need to realize something. You heard me say that, right?
Yeah.
And so he said, how do you, when you realize that you're like this, how do you get better from that, right? When you realize you hate, or you realize you judge, or you realize that you're resentful. Well, that realization is not going to set you free. Because you can realize that you're no good just because somebody said you're no good. You be like, yeah, I'm no good. But that's not going to set you free. Isn't that amazing? So everybody and mama realized something at some point. But there is another realization that comes that is given to you by God, and that's the one that set you free.
Yes.
If I can describe it, it's almost like a heat wave or something. It's like it just comes and you can see so clearly and there's nothing to hold on to and you're free. There's no second thought about it. As a matter of fact, when he causes you to realize there's no conversation about it because it's just like that, it's over. It's like, oh, yeah, that's weird, and it's gone. And you never have to go back to that anymore, it's gone. That's the realization you want. You don't want the one that comes from the intellect by just saying, yeah, I'm wrong. That doesn't mean a thing. It's when he shows you that that's why it's so important to learn to be still in life. To not just learn to sit quietly so that he can cause these things to happen in your life.
It seems like kind of a fragile moment when your life has been encumbered by failure for so long. The moment you're talking about.
Yeah, it take that for some people. Some it doesn't take that, the desperation. But for me, I guess maybe that's what it took for me. I was fed up. I was done. I had listened to the preachers. It didn't work, so I'm done. I read the Bible and did all that stuff. None of the stuff was happening. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just sick of being this way. Let me see what's going on.
Isn't this kind of like when you definitely realize these fragilities that you have and these defects, and you kind of just sit there and notice them, and then all of a sudden you're saying that there's a change that comes along one day.
It'll come, but you don't know when, where, or how. And believe me, people, this change that I'm talking about, your imagination can never perceive it. There's nothing in your mind can help you understand what I'm talking about. Not one iota of nothing. So don't even waste your time going to your imagination about this. Everything you pull from thought about what I'm saying, It's just words that you've heard and defined. Really, you can't, in the Bible it says his mind and his ways are not our mind. His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. It's absolutely true. It's nothing like what you can imagine, what I'm telling you. There are no words to express what I'm telling you. Every word I give you about this is a setup for you.
So it's very profound then?
Yes.
Okay.
It's pure love. Pure, well, I mean, just love, that's all it is. And this kind of love, no man can give it to you. No woman can give it to you. No money, no place, no thing, no nothing. It is interesting. It's just interesting. Let me take this hand first, then I cut. Yes. It passed? Oh, okay. Yes.
So, when you get into that moment where your football career is done, you're feeling like nothing, then you start judging yourself.
Right.
You say I'm nothing, but it's not the nothing that you've been referring to when God comes in and saves you. It's a different type of a thing. And then you start self-judging. There can be a moment there because you're literally not nothing is actually the truth. It's just you're not what you think you are.
Right. Nobody is nothing.
So the person that's experiencing this self-judgment that's taking them further down the rabbit hole,
Right.
it could be just a very quick moment or glimpse, but they could see that it's not that they're nothing, it's just that they're not what they think they are.
Right.
And through that moment, that glimpse,
That'll help.
begin to rebuild.
That's right.
Because they see the moment of truth, which you were
Yeah.
talking about, reality. And then through that kernel, they slowly rebuild. But it's a thawing out process that sometimes, because they have so much self-judgment,
Yes.
they just have to come back to being alone and being still.
Yep.
So they can actually rebuild with God this time around when they're, whatever they're doing in their life, rather than just trying to rebuild their ego and build another career or another profession.
That's right. Absolutely. You guys understand that?
Yes.
That makes sense? Total sense. It's funny, too, as people, how we use things to build, quote-unquote, self-esteem or feel important with. It's dumb. It is dumb to use music, become the best musician, to become the best actor or the best producer or the best football player or the best preacher, to get a sense of identity from that. People who are striving to be their best are doing it for a sense of identity. They're not doing it with the right motivation or for the right reasons. And that's why when they get it, they end up even worse than they were before they started out, trying to become the best at what they do. You shouldn't put effort in trying to be the best. You should put effort in just doing the best you can do what you do. And not as a sense of identity, but it's just the right thing to do. Do your best, but don't stress. Don't put that in the place of God. Don't get an identity from it, because it's going to change. It's going to absolutely change, and then you're going to see you're still nothing. But that's what people are stressing out behind. And the world, I was watching this morning, flipping through the TV, and there's a show on called something like My Best Black Woman or something. What's that movie? It was on BET. It was about, what is it called, Ernest?
I don't know.
Why are we not on there?
Something about black women.
Black Girls Rock?
Yeah, Black Girls Rock.
I don't know if it's a show, so was it like
Black
a award
Girls-
show or something?
It's like, oh, that's not it then. This is like a little talk show with black women on it. It's new. And it's called My Black Beauty or something. And I'm looking at these women this morning. James, you better be glad you're not black, buddy. It's hard being black. But I'm looking at these women, it's all phony. There's no salvation in it. There's no truth in it. And I'm thinking, this is not going to make them better. Focus on my beauty black ain't going to do nothing for you but make you suffer longer. That's all it's going to do for you. It's about the spirit. It's about being born again. It's about overcoming the ego. It's about dying from darkness and coming into the light. It's about becoming real people. It's about creating love. That's what it's about. It's not about proving how beautiful your black is. Because when you get old, you're just going to be an old black fool. You know what I mean? Because the body going to change. You don't look the same anymore. It's about the spirit. And then there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself and enjoying life and, and all that. I'm not saying that. But in the end, the identity is from what you're trying to do is not going to work for you.
And when you're not that way, you get judged.
Yeah, you get judged for not being that way.
Black women.
Yeah, but it's okay to let them judge you. You just don't judge them back because you will be the light. One quick example, and then I'll take some hands. I was talking to a woman on my radio show, very nice lady, who called in for the first time, and she said, you were talking about anger. I was talking about anger that day, and she said, I was angry at you. I was angry at you the way you talk about black people and stuff, but I realized that you really just, you talk about love. You're trying to help us rather than put us down. You're just telling the truth. And I realize that now, and I'm not angry at you anymore about it. And then we got into, some way or another, we got into this abortion thing. And she said that, well, I don't believe in abortion. I'm a Christian. But I think that every woman has a right to do what she want to do. It's her body, her choice. So if she want to have an abortion, it's right for her to do it. Who am I to judge, right? And I asked her, I said, well, being a Christian, where did you get this idea that it's right for her to do it? It's her body, her choice, right? And she couldn't tell me I don't know, that just came about. And from that, I realized that the world give us fancy ways of seeing things and then fancy words to use. And I noticed that children of God use those same words. And we can't be like the world if we're coming out of it. Because in all reality, it's not right for women to have an abortion. A woman doesn't have a right to kill a child in her womb. God gave the child that life. That child deserves a chance to live. And as a man of God, I have a right to tell her that. Now, I can't tie her down and make her not do it, but I have a right to say, no, you don't have a right to kill a child. It is not your body. If you can tell me how you created this body, then I'll go along with you. But it's not your body, nor is it your choice. And believe me, women who kill babies in their wombs, they're not making that choice. They're being influenced by evil, and they think that is their choice. And so if we are men and women of God, don't we have, and God said that we are the light of the world, we have a responsibility to shine some light on the darkness. And these people who think it's okay to kill babies inside the womb or live in darkness, how are we going to accept this thing, well, it's your choice, I have nothing to say about it? Am I wrong about this?
No.
But I hear a lot of folks saying that. Christian people. Well, I even hear preachers saying, it's her body, her choice. The world have given them these fancy things to say, and they sound right, but they're wrong. Isn't that amazing? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I do say that to my son even. Like my son, I'll say something to him and he'll say, yeah, but I can't tell my kids this, that. I said, yeah, but you're supposed to be the person who knows, so it's okay. You should be able to say, that's not good.
That's right.
Do that.
That's right.
I said, if you don't give them a way to go, then they think anything goes.
That's right.
Right, you're not being a parent.
And that's what the world is doing. They're telling parents, you can't tell your kid what to do. Let your kid do what they want. It's their choice. That's evil. We got to realize this battle that we're dealing with, this life that we're living, is a battle between good and evil in everything that we do. Everything that we do is a battle between right and wrong. And for parents to allow the world to tell them, you can't tell your children what to do, that's insane. But a lot of Christian parents are falling for that. Very good point. Yes, sir.
Okay, what you say about judgment and building your self-esteem? I always wonder, are we tempted as people? Are we tempted as when we're children to judge, to be proud find pride in what we do?
Yes, it starts when we were little kids, and the parents like you go and you do something really nice, and they're like, "Wow, right on, that is so good. You're the best." Now you got to stay with that. You said the rest of your life try to be the best. That's where the setup starts. Who said that? That's where it starts.
Yes.
Right there. There's a right way to guide your kids without building their egos like that. But you don't want to tear it down either when they're little kids because they need it to motivate them in life. But you're not supposed to stroke it so much that they become, that's all they know.
So it sounds like a balancing act between what setting not only limits for the child, but about how you try to raise it.
That's why you must be born again. So parents can see by the light and how to guide their children, not how they feel. Most parents, men and women, are emotional people, and they're raising their children based on emotions, based on feeling, and not based on insight, not based on love. Did you guys see that article I wrote about Oprah and the men?
Yes, we did.
Did you like it?
Sure did. Yes.
Yeah, somebody got to stand up for the men.
Yep.
So you liked it?
Yeah, it's well written.
Oh, good. You liked it, Christine?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's on WorldNetDaily.com. I wrote about how these men are going to Big Mama Oprah and telling her all their problems. And a man should never, ever, 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 but never, ever, never, never, ever, never go to a woman with their problems. And anybody who tell you that it's okay to go to a woman with their problem is a woman. It'll be like Christ coming to us about, I can't, Oprah. God wouldn't let me have any coffee this morning. Never, women can't handle it. It's not set up that way. It's not set up that way. Blame it on God, don't blame me, it doesn't work. The day before, all these men went to Big Mama with Tyler Perry. She had some gay guy up there talking about, what's the guy name? Ricky Martin talking about he's gay and Oprah like, oh yeah, that's great. Wouldn't it be wonderful if everybody came out of the closet? Oh. Uh-huh. The world would be a better place. And then the next day, 200 men up there crying to Big Mama. Tyler Perry, I'm like, these poor, pathetic, we really lost our way. You're never supposed to let your wife see you be weak. The worst thing that can happen to a wife is a weak man. It's like Christ being weak with us. Who would want to follow a weak Christ? He's up there crying about, oh, work was hard today. Some lady looked at me. But that's what the world coming to because it's feminized. Masculinity is not important anymore, and we're losing our way. But if you haven't read that article, go to worldnetdaily.com and make sure you read it. I got to answer this email here from, it's a very good one, and I forgot who it's from. She said, you talk about not judging yourself for eating ice cream. How do you know you're not using that as an excuse to keep eating ice cream? Isn't that a very good question? Yes. And I still like ice cream, and I used to eat it. Anybody heard my story? I would take, when I felt like nothing, you know that, everybody know that feeling of nothing. You know what it feels like to feel like nothing? You know that feeling? And it's like, sometimes. Yeah, you feel unimportant, you feel empty, you feel like you don't have anything, you don't own anything, you're all by yourself, nobody loves me and I don't love nobody, you know? You want to call up everybody, you just feel empty on the inside. And what I would do, and long story short, because of time, I would go to the store and get my favorite ice creams, not just one, but 3 or 4 of them. Black walnut, nutty coconut, strawberry, vanilla if they didn't have anything else. And I would buy cookies, my favorite peanut butter cookies, and come home and get a big bowl and put each one in there, big scoops. And I don't stop right at the top of the case, I go all the way down. Isn't that right about me in the past? And then I put peanuts on it and strawberry pop and go turn the TV on. I'm in heaven. And that's the honest truth. I did that for years. And it's the best tasting stuff you ever want to have for the ego. Because you get the bittersweet taste. The peanuts are like salty. The ice cream is sweet. And the strawberry pop is just everything. And mix it all up, I'm in heaven. My little feeling of being like nothing vanished just like that. It's gone. But I became a fat pig. And so to answer this question is, I soon realized, once I started to sit still and pray, wanted to understand myself, I wanted to know where's this feeling coming from or feeling like nothing? How do you get over it? I learned to sit quietly and pray, and I realized that of myself I could do nothing about it. So I wasn't using that as an excuse. I realized that I was using it to escape. It was like using marijuana or anything else to escape. So I didn't try to make myself stop eating anymore. I got to know what was wrong with me, that I had this judgment, this anger. Anybody with anger, even a little bit of anger, are using something to escape that anger. Judging yourself and others, overeating, smoking dope, drinking, whatever. But anybody that has anger is using something. Having sex like 90 going north. And so I realized that the more I tried to stop myself from doing it, I got worse. I ate more. So I just kept eating, became really fat, but I was praying and waiting on God to do something. Then God took away my anger by causing me to forgive my parents first. 99.9% of people hate their parents first. And most of the time it's the mothers first. I don't care what color you are, male or female, you hate your mothers first, even though they have told you you hate your fathers, but you really hate your mothers. If you can realize that, allow God to make you realize that, you'll start forgiving, then you can stop eating. That's when things will come to order. But as long as you're angry, you're going to go from one thing to another and to escape that ego thing. And we have to lay down our pride. And that's what the problem is. We can't, there's not but one God and we're not God. So it's not excuses, it's facing reality and trying to understand how to overcome. If you want to be free, you got to forgive. You got to let go of every little bit of anger, because any iota of resentment separate you from God. And you're never going to have perfect peace. So you got to forgive. That's the solution to all of your problems, is forgiveness. That makes sense, Wayne? I can't hear you. Yes. Yeah, he's doing this, folks, but he doesn't realize he's on internet right now, TV. So, have you forgiven?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Well, is it hard to forgive?
I want to. I don't want to force myself, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like it's fake.
Because you can't force yourself.
Right, but I really, really want to. So I know I feel like it's so hard for me to get to the point of having that conversation.
Of forgiveness?
Yeah.
When you say having that conversation, what do you mean?
Well, just like tell my mother, tell my father, I hate you, I resent this.
It's hard for you to tell your father and mother that you hate them?
Yes, even though it's very clear that everybody knows from being here, but
right.
It's still, I don't know if something in me is holding on to it or.
But your parents, I know your parents, they would want you to tell them so you can get past it. It's not like some parents who don't want to admit it.
But I don't think.
Which one would and which one wouldn't?
Well, I think obviously my mother would be more, she would want that to happen.
So have you done it with her?
No.
Well, do it with your mother.
Well, that's what I, like I said, I've been realizing lately that it's more of an issue than I thought.
I'm out of time. Get a copy of my CD. You can have it free. Be still and know. Just call the number below and learn to sit still. You got to forgive. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, guys.